Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Anne Widdecombe.
Can Britain control her own laws and remain part of the EU? No. Can Britain control her own borders and remain part of the EU? No. Can Britain set up her own trade deals and remain part of the EU? No. And can Britain choose to be governed by her own democratically elected government and stay part of the EU? No. Well, those 4 no's are why people voted for Brexit in the referendum. And the patronising nincompoops who say that we didn't know what we were voting for actually reveal their own ignorance, because by voting to remain, they voted for Britain to stay helpless. However, we gave them a different answer in 2016. We said we wanted to leave. And lo and behold, both major parties at Westminster stood on a manifesto saying that they would implement the will of the people. And have they been implementing the will of the people? They have actually spent the best part of 3 years asking the EU for their gracious permission to leave. We don't need their permission to leave. We tell them we're going, and if they don't understand it, we can talk to Juncker in a language which he does understand, and we can say, nous allons, monsieur, nous allons. And that is what we can do. But we can only do it if the way that politics is conducted in this country at the moment changes, and changes for good. So our mission in these European elections is a very, very simple one. We have to reaffirm the vote of the British people, and we have to send shockwaves through Westminster, which tells them that if they don't listen and if they don't deliver, then come a general election, they may find themselves out. Now, Richard told you that he used to be a member of the Conservative Party. So did I. Indeed, it is only 7 days since I stood in a Norwegian fjord. Well, I was on dry land, I wasn't actually in the fjord. Since I stood in Norway and looked around and pulled out my mobile phone and called Nigel Farage. And when I arrived back in Poole, I was met by a member of the Brexit Party who said, "Come and sign your nomination papers." One month ago even, I would have found it difficult to contemplate leaving a party which I served for 55 years. But that party is no longer serving you. It has set out quite deliberately to thwart the express will of the British people and to keep us half in and half out, which is not what we voted for. We voted to leave, and by leave we meant leave. We meant that we don't want to accept their laws any longer. We don't want to accept their border dictation any longer. That is why we voted to leave. We want to be free to do our own trade deals without asking for their permission. We are a free, sovereign state. That is what we want to be. And if we are not free, and if we do not free ourselves, then we betray the legacy of 2 generations ago. Heavens above, if we'd been governed by this lot, we'd have given up at Dunkirk. We are not afraid of a bit of difficulty because we know the future is bright. And we owe it to generations to come that they should be born and thrive in a free, self-governing country, not in some vassal state. And none of us here should rest until the government, and for that matter the opposition, finally recognise what the people wanted, and above all recognise their duty to deliver it rather than frustrate it. Now that's why I have joined the Brexit Party. And that is why I am very, very optimistic, because I can remember a time when people said, there will never be an in-out referendum. Well, there was, not least thanks to the work of Nigel Farage. And then people said, you'll never win that referendum. And Project Fear went into overdrive. And our lords and masters tried to terrify us into remaining subject to the EU. And we told them where to get off. Now we're going to leave, and the simple choice facing our politicians at Westminster is either face that very simple fact and leave, or we'll make you leave. Thank you.
That's right, yeah. Isn't she great?